Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the 132nd video of my video journal series. Today's date is Saturday, the 20th of June 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you. And today I went to Supanova. Yes, that massive convention here in Sydney. All things pop culture related, not just superheroes, anime, manga, gaming as well. I went there and it was the first Supernova I've been to. Not first convention. The first convention I ever been to was a Oz Comic Con 2019, and then it was Oz Comic Con 2023, then it was Smash 2025. So yeah, this was my fourth convention, and yeah, I met up with a lot of my friends. We all had a good time. We went to a panel. We met some people, cosplayers, stars, and all that. So yeah, it was just all around great time. I did buy some merchandise, not a whole lot, just a small batch of merchandise. A lot of my friends, they spend a lot of money on little trinkets and merch from the mini stores and all that. Not so much me. I try to limit my spending on that. But no, it was just an all around great time. 100% would like to go to a convention like that again. Though every couple of years you gotta wait because who knows? Next year might be a bunch of people who you don't really, I guess, know or not interested in. But this year they have like a lot of big name stars, and I went on a Saturday. I know a lot of the celebrity Q&As were on are going to be on Sunday. Saturday was a little bit, I guess, dry in that aspect, but there's certainly a lot of like autograph signings and all that. I guess just in terms of the panels, you're very much restricted to a few. But no, it was fun time. My feet ache from all the walking I was doing. So yeah, that's that. But other than that, yeah, I enjoyed it. So I feel like a sneeze coming on. It's like every time I'm like about to end a sentence, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. That obviously that moment I didn't sneeze, but you get what I mean. Yeah, so honestly, though, great time and all. Obviously, I did a lot of walking and standing, and my feet are aching me. It's just my feet, though, like my thigh and all that. So, yeah, I think I just like going to conventions. I like meeting people during conventions, cosplays, and all that. I didn't take a whole lot of pictures or video for that matter because most of the video of the panels and all that are uploaded online. Sometimes they don't allow you to take any photos or videos. So yeah, you'll like during panels at least. Um, but I remember a few cosplays and all that. I went up to I think one cosplayer who was doing I think it was a no, I believe it was Doc from Back to the Future Part 3. He was dressed up as Doc from the third movie, and then he had someone else's Clara. I took a picture with them. I didn't get their names or anything like that, but if I guess taking photo with cosplays, if they're just I guess non-active, that is, people who just cosplay and they don't have like a social media following and all that, I guess you maintain privacy, but you know, something I like about conventions is that you can just go up to someone and say, "Oh yeah, can I take your picture?" And obviously, you ask them for permission. Most of the time, they're gonna say yes, and like it's just a nice thing, like taking a photo with someone who has like an impressive cosplay. And I didn't cosplay this year, but I really want to cosplay sometime soon. Cosplaying seems like such a fun thing, but I'm gonna come up with like a unique idea for a cosplay. So stay tuned for that. I know there's a bunch of other conventions happening this year in Sydney, like Smash and Comic Con. But I've looked at all of them and they don't really interest me. Like the idea interests me, obviously, but there's none of like I guess the big name stars, that I'm really like attracted to. So yeah, I'll see where those go, but usually I just do like one convention per year. It's either going to be Comic Con, Supernova, Smash, or something like that. So yeah, like honestly, I'm just open to any convention in Australia. You know, who knows? Maybe I'll have to travel to Melbourne or Canberra or Brisbane if they have like a very good headline act, if you know what I mean, like very good, I guess, celebrities or activities to do there. Because I know people, they travel long distances to go to conventions because they're very dedicated fans. So yeah, at least with me, right, it was quite like a long trip there, but certainly not as long as I don't know catching a flight per se. So yeah, I was grateful that I was even there in the first place. Obviously, what else? Yeah, that's all I really have to say. Uh, and obviously I was too lazy to like cook for myself, so I just got like junk food. And I know I've been trying to cut down on junk food, but sometimes when you're too lazy, your feet are aching. You're like, damn, I just need to get some KFC. Um, so yeah, and I wonder if anyone else who's watching this video went to Supanova today because it runs on 3 days, at least here in Sydney, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I went to the Saturday one, which was today, but there is one on Sunday tomorrow, so I don't think it's too late. Um, obviously there was like a pretty large crowd, but it was quite easy to get in. We didn't have to wait in line to get in, but man, it was pretty crowded inside. But it was like that lively sort of atmosphere. Didn't feel like too cramped like Oz Comic Con 2023. That one was, I think, the most cramped convention I've ever been to. It was literally shoulder to shoulder. Smash 2025 was pretty good in my opinion. Um, Obviously, it had like that lively atmosphere of this year's Supernova, but you know, you're able to move around. You weren't just like squished shoulder to shoulder. Um, so yeah, I just like those conventions, where it's like obviously you see a lot of people around, but it's not shoulder to shoulder. You can actually move around, and obviously moving around was, a little bit easier than I thought. Obviously, you still got people coming from all different directions, but it's manageable. It's a manageable, I guess, chaos and stream of people. And I stayed back all the way up until like 5:30. I know the doors closed at 5, and something that noticed my, I guess, ears, I should say, is I never heard an announcement, at least at like 5:30ish where we left, saying everyone had to get out of the building because it said doors close at 5. So I meant, oh yeah, the entire building closes at 5. No, not really. I think the convention goes on for a decent half hour or maybe like full hour. I just know that the doors close at 5 o'clock and not accepting any new people in. But I assume they allow people to like finish off what they're doing, or the panels to conclude, or the signings, autographs, and all that to conclude before they move on. By that I mean they move on. They you know try to reset everything for the next day. And I know nothing about convention logistics, but um, it would be quite hard to run a convention for even 3 days. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it, hence why they only happen once per year. Um, but no, this year's Supernova was really, really good. And, I'll certainly like to go back to Supernova. I haven't been to a Comic Con in 3 years. Oz Comic Con, I mean. And nothing against Oz Comic Con or anything. I've certainly had like a lot of enjoyable moments there, but I've been looking through like all the guests and activities and all of that. And nothing's really been interesting me. I think Supernova, well, Oz Comic Con is obviously geared towards, I guess, more comic books, even though it's supposed to be pop culture. But Supernova's always been, I guess, about pop culture. And I guess like with Supernova, it caters a little bit towards my interest. Yet again, this is not a paid endorsement of either company, but I do, I think find Supernova this year's Supernova a lot more appealing than I would say 2019 Comic Con even, or 2023 Comic Con. Not to say those Comic Cons were bad or anything. It's just that, I think this year's Supernova was really like the best convention I've been to. So I think this one's gonna be a short video because my feet are just absolutely aching. I just need to get some early night's rest. But anyway, so yeah, like I just like going to conventions. I like meeting people. I like getting autographs. I like buying little exclusive trinkets and all that. And yeah, like with me, conventions sort of really like capture the moment. When you take a photo or you buy a little token, it really captures a memory, if you know what I mean, or a specific, I guess, you know, specific experience in your mind. And I feel like conventions is where everyone can like sort of get together and like chill out and just not really chill out like in that sense, but like really be themselves, like away from the perils of the modern day world, the bleakness of modernity, and they can just go in a convention hall even for one day and just express themselves artistically, and in terms of what their favorite interests are, who's their favorite pop culture icon, who's their favorite superhero, manga character, um, that sort of thing. And that's why I always like conventions. They're like, geek festivals, but it's just, you know, you're filled in a room with hundreds and hundreds of other people who share similar interests and tastes, but yet their ideas, or not really ideas, but like they share similar tastes on like, manga, comic books, and all that. You can meet people with similar tastes, but everyone's distinct in their own, I guess, identity, like cosplaying and what additions they add to their cosplay, or you know where they want to go in the convention, even like small things like that. That's why I really, really like conventions. And maybe next time I'll just get a weekend pass because, um, I feel like you can't explore the entirety of a convention in just one day. It's gonna be nearly impossible. Um, Obviously, weekend pass for I guess more of the diehards. I've only really done Saturdays for conventions, but I guess you only really need one day if you just want to do like an in and out experience. But if you really want to explore convention, I recommend you get like a weekend pass, even if you just only go for like 2 days out of three. It always leaves that gate open, I guess. I guess like most conventions only really last for like 2 days, like comic book conventions and all that. Um, but yeah, like I should definitely get a weekend pass next time because yeah, I like to explore more. And just to be able to geek out for one extra day of the year. And man, I can't believe it's already been a year since the last convention I've been to, excluding today, um, which means that, well, it will be only up until, I say only up until, it'll be June 2020. Oh, excuse me. Around June or like August of 2027 before I go to my next one. Just judging by when I've been to all the my conventions thus far, they've always been at the middle of the year. So yeah, like honestly, I'm looking forward to my next one. Today's Supernova was fantastic. I know I've said that a lot, but yeah, coming back home from Supernova, I'm just ready to rest tomorrow. I've gotten everything with me. Um, you know, um, Gonna let my legs rest tomorrow. Just gonna chill out, play some games, and yeah, like honestly, if there's a convention near your area, I highly suggest you go there, especially if it's manga or pop culture related. It just depends what your interests are, but comic book conventions are really interesting to analyze. Even if you don't like comic books, you can just still go in there and appreciate the fact that you got hundreds of people, if not thousands, packed in a small room together, who all share, some of like, who I guess all share their love for geekiness and franchises and all that. but each cosplay is different. No two cosplays are same, essentially. And it's just it, it's just really interesting to analyze that, I guess, group of people, like massive, I guess, congregation of people all in the same area. The most amount of geeks per square, essentially. It's really, really interesting to analyze, I guess, from like a more of a social science point of view. But for me, I just like, being able to um, just basically go up to people and someone with a sick cosplay and asking them, hey, would I be able to take a picture? And they say, oh yeah, yeah, sure, because everyone's like very friendly. And some of the cosplays I've seen, like that Doc Brown one I mentioned earlier from Back to the Future Part 3, it's really, really impressive. He even had the gun and all that he used to I think it shoot down Marty from his noose in Part 3, and all that. So yeah, he was like all tripped out essentially. And there was a bunch of other cosplayers my friends took photos with and all that. And obviously, when you go to convention, you always got to ask for permission at the end of the day. I guess that's my little message at the end of the day. Not little, I guess my little wise quote for today, but it really should just be obviously, yeah, when you go to conventions, obviously practice social etiquette and hygiene. Um, but just yeah, there's nothing, I guess, wrong in just going up to someone and asking permission if they're wearing a very nice or cosplay or whatever. If you just ask, hey, would I be able to take a picture? If they say yes, which will be, I guess, majority of the time, who knows? You can take a picture. If they say no, then you just move on to the next person. But really, haven't got anyone that says no per se. And I think that's more like a right of honor, where you have like how many people coming up to you asking to take a picture. Most people will just be flattered. Obviously, if you go out on the street and you go up to a stranger saying, hey, can I take a picture? That sounds weird. And that's another thing about conventions that I want to end on, Like, it's the only place where I guess you can get pictures with total strangers, but you just recognize, not so much recognize, but you like have like an instinct bond because they're wearing a cosplay of your favorite show or piece of media. So you're like, hey, I recognize that cosplay. Even if you don't recognize the person, you recognize that cosplay and you associate that person with the, you know, cosplay that they're wearing. And yeah, it just feels like honestly inviting, and it is quite cool. And it's a way to boost, I guess, your social skills. Like, yeah, I don't think there are any other social environments where you can go up to people and ask, "Hey, would you like to take a picture with me?" Um, and I was initially nervous while doing that, but then you initially gain some confidence, and yet again, you always practice mindfulness, always ask permission before you take a photo, and when you take a photo, you always got to ask permission. Hey, can I post this online? If you don't, I guess, ask, hey, can I post this online? Then the expectation is you keep it private. That's another thing. But yeah, honestly, conventions are a great way to socialize, especially at Supanova. This year's Supanova was a great way to socialize with people, get around with friends, family, and yeah, it's really in all ages of that. And yeah, again, I'm not paid to say this, but this is from my own experience. And now, obviously, there are some like pros and cons to the conventions and all that. Cons that can be quite expensive, but honestly, it is well worth the experience. My only regret was not going to any conventions. Actually, no, because I didn't go to any conventions in 2022. 2020 and 2021 was still COVID years. So realistically, I didn't go to 2022 because I don't know, maybe I was still shaky about COVID. I went to 23 Oz Comic Con. I didn't go to any cons in 2024 because I had HSC. Um, then there was 2025 and 2026, yes, so nearly near continuously. I shouldn't really say that, but with the reasonable expectation is that most cons went running between 2020 and 2021. I've been to a fair few, um, but obviously that pales into comparison to, I guess, other people being on con for like 20 years. I know a friend who's been to Supanova every single year that they hosted, obviously excluding the pandemic years, but he's been going since like 2016, which is just insane, when he was like 10 years old. But, yeah, it's just honestly, I really like conventions. That's all I can say. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I guess I can close all these books. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to get a good night's rest. And I've taken a look at the next week ahead. I do have a few things planned again, but it should be a lot more chill. I know it's going to be a lot more chiller, and I say that, all the time. Excuse me, I'm nearly falling asleep. I know I say that all the time, but there's always going to be things that pop up last minute. But certainly not conventions, because I always plan them ahead of time. Anyway, that's what I have to say, and I guess I'll catch you all later. Bye, see you, take care. Catch you all tomorrow.